Janet Jacks has been intrigued by the food-health connection for over 40 years. In the early years of marriage, her husband Scott was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, the same disease that his father suffered with. It took his life at just 57. Janet was determined to help her husband avoid that path and motivated to help prevent her 5 children from developing diabetes due to genetics. With God as her guide, Janet set out to find ways to heal the body and prevent disease naturally. Out of her research and passion, Goodness Me Natural Food Market was born. It has now 6 locations, 2 to come in December in Southern Ontario. She has a radio program just for the health of it. And this, cute, eh? I understand that's Scott's creation, that title.
Yes, that is.
And a marvelous book. I happened to be in the Burlington store the day after the book was launched, and I heard it was just packed out. Discover the Power of Food, the 10-week plan to transform your life. And if all this isn't enough, next week, an online store opening.
Yes, making healthy food available to people everywhere who don't have easy access.
Janet, and I drove past the Burlington store last night at 7:30. There's 20 people in there at desks in a classroom. What's that about?
Well, education is what we're about, and we want to teach people. And one of the reasons I wrote Discover the Power of Food is to educate people about what they don't know. And one of the things that I have found is that people have developed in our society an unhealthy relationship with food, and they don't even know that they have that unhealthy relationship until they develop a healthy relationship with food. And one of the things that I'm about is helping people fall in love with food again, enjoy great pleasure and freedom, and understand that this is God's gift to us, and that the food rules and food prison and cravings and dieting and denial and rationalizing, that's not healthy. And so I want to reestablish a healthy relationship in people with food. And when that happens, they just have such pleasure in it. You see, food should be nourishment and pleasure. And nourishment means having the nutrients our body needs to work properly. And if we don't have those nutrients, the body can't operate. We're putting roadblocks up. For example, most people are deficient in magnesium today for many reasons, our high intake of sugar and our stress being 2 of them. And yet magnesium is necessary for 325 things. And a lack of it can result in insomnia, in depression, anxiety, in cravings, in intolerance of noise, in high blood pressure, heart palpitations, heart disease. Who doesn't have some of those risk factors
Really?
today?
You mean magnesium could be the quick fix for some of those
Well, and that's
things?
the thing. We need to eat our food that's magnesium rich, and we need to get our food in balance. Food should be the source of these things. And so what we've misunderstood about food is that food is information for our cells. It tells our cells how to behave, how to be happy, how to create the right kind of hormones in the right balance, how to talk to one another. And when we give the right food to our bodies, then the right food will give the right information to our cells, and everything works better.
You said something amazing just before we began. You said junk food doesn't speak molecular language.
That's right. And so when we are eating the man-made foods of today, the food-like products,
Chemical festival, I
yes,
call it.
when we're exactly, and when we're having too much of nothing, I call that overconsumptive undernutrition, then our stomachs are full, but our bodies aren't satisfied. And we are always craving something more. And we're a nation of cravings. And it's absolutely incredible when the cravings go and you have this freedom to enjoy food without I have to have it right now. Just the pleasure of food and feeling very steady. And so nourishment and pleasure means your body is working better and better. You have more energy, the energy everybody wants. Your sleep improves, your mood improves. You feel happier for no particular reason in terms of your circumstances.
Because the machine is operating
That's right.
the way it's meant to. I just want to endorse this. Like, this is not just some health nut here. I've done this. I have made the battleship transition turn, and it is absolutely amazing that you look at things you thought you couldn't live without. I'm going to be deprived of that, and all of a sudden, yuck!
You
I
don't
wouldn't
want it
touch
anymore.
that again.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore.
And one of the problems we've gotten into is misinformation, and so we have this conventional wisdom which everybody sort of believes in our society, but which isn't correct. So, for example, a calorie is a calorie. And this isn't true because we have to remember that food is information for our cells. So if we just look at the calories, it's nothing to do with the information for our cells. So the right kind of calories give you the right information. Another myth is that if I could just lose that weight, I would be healthier. Well, although that's true, it's the wrong focus. If we're focusing on weight loss, well, people are dieting and gaining and dieting and gaining. What we want to focus on is let's work on getting healthy, and the weight will fall off as a side benefit of getting healthy. And so instead of focusing on weight loss, let's focus on giving our body the nourishment it needs, along with the pleasure, and then the weight falls off as a side benefit without trying. Another myth is that fat will make you fat, and this is not true. Actually, eating more fat will help you burn fat. It will help your cells be healthier because every cell has a membrane made of fat.
Is this why we can have eggs and butter now? Where
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
We've always been able to have them. We just didn't know we could. The other thing is we think that saturated fat is really bad. And this is great freedom to know that saturated fat is actually healthy depending on the source, depending on what the animal ate.
Okay, what saturated fat like?
Well, for example, I brought along some cream because we've been afraid of fat and we've been afraid of cream and we've been trying to eat low-fat dairy products. And actually, new research is validating over and over that the fat actually helps to keep the blood sugar more steady, helps you feel satisfied, adds pleasure to your food, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. But what we need to do is make sure we're getting real food because God's food is real food. So if we look at this cream, the ingredients say cream. And
is that it?
That's it. And
Nothing
most
added?
cream will have 5 ingredients: stabilizers, emulsifiers. Why is that there? That is not there for us. Our body says, I don't know what to do with that. It's not real. So 2 containers of cream side by side, one is real, one is not. So we need to pick real food that nourishes the body and then not be afraid of it and enjoy it with great pleasure instead of feeling guilty about having cream and thinking that's going to make me fat or that's going to make me sick. So other myths would be things like, salt. Everywhere I go, people think salt is a big problem. And if we get rid of the junk food and put salt on our healthy food, we actually might need to eat more salt. And I can't explain that now, but in my book, I discuss why that is so.
Even if you have high blood pressure, Janet?
Here's the thing. There are 4 or 5 other ways that salt, too low a salt, might increase your risk of heart disease. And we need to understand the whole picture, not just the blood pressure. And I discuss this in Discover the Power of Food. And so we're living under a lot of these food rules and myths that are keeping us unhealthy. We think we can exercise it away. Well, we can burn calories, we can make the body work better, but we can't exercise away the wrong information that chemicals and man-made food-like products have given our body. So we need to reestablish that the body is God's temple. We need to take care of the body and eat the kind of food that our bodies were meant for. And so that's where my book comes into play.
Janet, let's our time is evaporating. And this is a learning curve. You're not the only one singing off this song sheet. We can see just in our grocery stores how things are changing. We're hearing in the news the findings that are, it's a new paradigm.
It is a new paradigm, but people don't know how to do it.
And that's where I want to go.
Discover the Power of Food is a 10-week plan to transform your life. So
and you walk us through.
I walk you through.
It can seem daunting.
A little bit of change per week, and you could take a week or 2 weeks or a month for each change, or you can do it shorter if you want. When the book was 3 days old, a lady told me that she was on week 3. So she did the fast course. But there's little bits of information that will help free you from some of these wrong things about food. And there's great recipes along the way, over 100 recipes. So I make it practical.
Color pictures. I want to see, I love the title. I just opened this randomly and it says, week 6, bring love to the table. Tools of success.
So I want you to fall in love with food, enjoy it. I make it practical, I make it doable, and I make it motivational because I have over 40 personal stories of real people who have done this, because we've been teaching this program for 15 years and now it's available to people simply by opening up a book and following along. It's easy to read and enough of the why that you understand why, but more about the what and how so you actually can do it and love it.
I want you to see Janet's beautiful, healthy family because there was a wedding last summer. Your youngest daughter was married. Absolutely beautiful. Glowing with health. The radio program is live streamed at goodnessme.ca. Discover the Power of Food. This 10-week plan to change your life and health is available at our e-store. Janet, oh, it's so good and so needed. God bless you.
Well, thank you. And I know
congratulations on those 2 new stores coming up.
Thank you. And I know that people will discover their own success story as they follow these principles, and the rules will fall away, and they'll have a new freedom and a new pleasure in food that they didn't have before.
That's it. Oh, may it be for every one of us.